This is the Smash Bros. Cast, Ep.7. I'm your host, N64 Josh. My co-host and sparring partner is Nightcrawler. What's up, man?
What's up? How's it going?
It is going good. It is going good. This show's a little late this week, but you know what? It's all right. It's all right. Here. Life's been crazy, and we're still just figuring this thing out. We're figuring this thing out. So we're doing it live. Twitch.tv/N64Josh. I think Thursday nights are going to finally be the night we start doing this. It's going to be late though, folks. So if you want to watch it live, it's going to be late, like 9-10 o'clock on Thursday nights Pacific time. So late for you folks on the East Coast. But you can catch the YouTube videos on my YouTube channel, or you can watch and or listen n64josh.com/SBC7 is where you'll find the show notes for this one. Remember, every episode, I'm going to have links to any articles that we mention. There will be links to any tournaments that we happened to watch this last week. Also, there will be links to the characters that we are highlighting, so that you can check out some of the tips from some of the best YouTube videos out there on the individual characters. So, before we get started, I kind of want to introduce Nightcrawler a little bit and find out a little bit just about you and your history with Smash and how long you've been playing. Like I said, he's been my sparring partner for the last month, basically. There's the I should be in bed, but we're gonna play Smash.
We're going until 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah, we'll play Smash for a half hour. Let's just do a half-hour practice. Hour and a half later. One more match. Let's do a random. In fact, let's talk about that random before we go too far. Let's talk about our last random match.
Yeah, we had a throwback match. We had Pac-Man versus Game & Watch. and you, I think you have a clip saved, right?
Yeah. And we had one other, which I got to play as Ike. Who did you play that match? Do you recall? Ness. No.
Was it? Oh, Lucas. I think.
And so here I am, about to finish this one up. Like this, I got this one in the bag, right? I have one stock left, but I'm gonna get like maybe 20% damage. And he keep knocking him off the edge, and I throw Ike's sword up, and I smash down, and I throw it up, and I smash him down, and I throw it up, and I smash to my death. And we both just died laughing at like 12 at night, 1 in the morning. We're just cracking up. It was an epic way to end the night.
And I was taking considerable tick damage just being off screen as well, because I kept coming back for some reason.
Yeah, you were way up there. I couldn't believe it. But so tell me about your history with the game. Does it go back to the 64?
It does go back to the 64. So I had it on the 64. I actually don't even know where that cartridge is right now. So I need to find it eventually. Hopefully when I go through a house move here, I'll find it, or it's maybe buried somewhere at my parents' house. But I did play it on the 64 with friends, late night, Friday nights, all that kind of stuff. And then I did stay away from I moved over to the Xbox when GameCube came out, so I didn't really get to experience Melee in its full glory. But when I did get a Wii, that was one of the 3 GameCube titles that I was sure to pick up. I picked up Double Dash and Melee and made sure to check those 2 titles out specifically. So got to play it a little bit that way, but didn't necessarily experience it how you did, fighting all those all the wiremen trying to unlock Sonic, or was it Sonic?
Let's not talk about it anymore. Yeah, it was Sonic. It was Sonic.
But yeah, so but picked up Brawl. That wasn't. I didn't spend a ton of time playing Smash because I was busy with school and all that kind of stuff at that time in my life. But I definitely, when Smash was announced for Wii U, I had to make sure I got a Wii U, so I got that one. I picked up a Wii U around Black Friday that year that Smash was coming out, and was sure to get Smash, and went through and unlocked all the characters, and unfortunately found out that you and I both hadn't unlocked all the stages this last week, so had to go back and get, well, I think 1 or 2 stages I hadn't unlocked on the Wii U, so did that. But yeah, so I've had every iteration of the franchise and enjoyed it, and it's definitely served different purposes, and I think it's grown from what it was at the beginning, where it was a fun hangout with friends, where it wasn't as competitive as definitely as the game has become now.
Absolutely. We have a question from chat. Life Size Luna. First, hello. Welcome anybody that's hanging out. Thank you guys for being here. We appreciate it. They want to know, who was Nightcrawler's main on the 64?
Ooh, on the 64, I liked Link, but I enjoyed the challenge of Ness. That third jump with Ness trying to get his the PK energy around whatever to knock you up back onto the stage, that was always a challenge. But I felt it was also a little bit easier to control Ness. I think back then, he's definitely a untamed animal, I feel like, in the last couple versions of the game. So he's definitely harder to control.
For sure. Who did you find yourself maining on the other titles?
So Melee, I kind of just played casually, never really got into it, just because I wasn't playing it a bunch against people, and it was just when I had my Wii. Brawl, I can't even really remember. I know it was just, I think just when the roster exploded that much, I think I just jumped around a bunch, and that was just kind of a fun way to play with friends when I was living in apartments, college years, and that kind of stuff. So didn't really have a main there, but definitely with this game, we've kind of been talking about it, and you found your main, and I've kind of been bouncing back and forth this last, 2 weeks ago. I think up until about 2 weeks ago, I was kind of bouncing around a little bit, but now kind of landed on back and forth between Zero Suit and Bayo. So that's where I've kind of been. I see.
Yeah, it's been we've had some pretty fun matches with you playing Bayo and playing Zero Suit. It's been a good time. Did you have anybody that you were able to play this game with a lot, or was it more of a single player experience for you?
I mean, back in high school and middle school, when, I don't know I don't even remember how old I was with 64, but that was always just kind of a casual thing with friends at somebody's house. And then, I mean, I do remember going through break the targets, all that kind of stuff on the Master Hand story mode on 64. But for the most part, all the other games have kind of been a single player experience, or trying to deal with kind of the brokenness that is online play with Nintendo, especially on the Wii and this. I feel like this game has gotten a little more stable with that, but it definitely has its ups and downs. We had some single digit frame games last week.
Oh yeah, that was a ton of fun. That was a ton of fun getting to see each movement. We got to find out what Bayo's hitting you with on those A attacks, those tilt attacks. It's all those skulls that are coming at you, and we didn't really realize that until we got into those single digit frames. That's true. We were like, hey, there's a skull. Life Size Luna from the chat saying R.I.P. Wolf on Brawl.
Well, yeah. We're hoping he comes back for the
fingers
game,
fingers crossed,
for the Switch game here.
So, all right. Well, cool, man. We're just going to jump right into our Smash news. There hasn't been any major, no breaking news, nothing major. We had a little bit of fun with a leak that came out that has been confirmed fake. The creator of the leak has even posted how he made the leak, which was pretty cool. It was all done in Blender, and
it looks good. It looks legit.
Yeah, he created the entire stage so that it looked like a Smash stage. Like, did a really good job. Recreated one of the levels from ARMS. And so I do have a link to the video of the making of the video in the show notes. You guys can check it out. The characters that he included was Springman, Decidueye, which I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. It's a Pokemon character, and so I apologize.
I'm like you. I haven't really played much since Yellow, so
yeah, that's all I've played pretty much. So Mario with Cappy, and then Ice Climbers, and So there's actual video. You can see Springman kind of bouncing and then there's a bunch of screenshots. And I mean, the internet ripped this thing apart, right? Like people are breaking it all down. If you type in Smash 5 leak, the first video that shows up is a video just like, hey, this wouldn't be here, this shouldn't be here, that kind of stuff, you know. So it's letting you know that this is not real. And sure enough, it was fake. And it really seemed like the guy had some fun with it though. So like I don't get that upset about it. It gives anything that kind of gets people talking and gets them excited. Cool. Had it been real, great. We would have seen Springman, that kind of stuff. That's all kind of what we're hoping for.
Sometimes even those ideas solidify with the creators that they're on the right path, creating characters and maybe even gives them ideas for stages for DLC or anything else like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, early on when Smash was announced, like within a couple days, there was somebody that had made a video showcasing Labo Man in Smash, right? Yep. And he's taking the Joy-Con off his back. He's this little cardboard cutout that's taking the Joy-Con off his back. He's throwing it. It looked like a Smash moveset. I thought I thought it was going to be. I was like, wow, this is cool, you know. So a few years, like I think early on when the Switch came out, there was Smash leaks that ended up being fake that somebody said, you know, that somebody made. And you know, some people get real upset about these things. Other people don't seem to mind quite as much. But I will say it was cool to see Mario with Cappy. We're all kind of hoping. I'm kind of hoping we see that. Because that kind of thing could really refresh the moveset, that kind of just freshen it up a little bit and change it up. And so that would be cool. And to see Ice Climbers come back, I think is a lot of people want to see that. And then the Pokemon, I'm neither here nor there on. But then of course I can't imagine we wouldn't see some ARMS characters over into Smash. Like it's just such a great fit. I don't know what they look like in Smash. You know, what does that look like with having a really long reach? You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I think almost some of those long reaches would have to be confined to a final Smash or something like that.
Well, I wonder too if it would almost be like a projectile. You know,
that's true. Yeah, because I haven't thought about that, but yeah, that's
even though it's still connected to their body, it's basically them throwing a projectile. It is still,
yeah. It's like Samus throwing out her charge up shot, or Mario with his fireballs.
Right. So I think the potential's there. But so speaking of potential characters, we have another question from the chat here. It says, which character does Luna calls you Nightmares, which is great. Nightcrawler. Who do you hope to see in the new Smash aside from Waluigi?
Well, that's interesting because we're getting ready to talk about this big article that we just found and we were discussing beforehand. And I think you and I both went through that, and we didn't see them mention Waluigi in that article. We haven't gotten all the way through it yet, but where Waluigi would have been mentioned, we didn't see him listed in that potential character lineup. But Josh and I were discussing earlier about how we'd like to see maybe Paper Mario as an iteration on the Mario character, how Link has two different versions with Toon Link and regular Link. So Paper Mario's one. There was also just talk of going through all of the different just Nintendo universes, and one of the other ones that jumped out to me was some of the characters in the Donkey Kong universe, and how Dixie Kong was potentially rumored. I don't think it was Melee. I think it might have been Brawl, that she was rumored to have maybe been created in there and not utilized. But seeing Dixie Kong put in, or even now with how popular Funky Kong is becoming with Tropical Freeze coming out, I think we might either see a trophy or maybe even a playable character with Funky Kong.
Yeah, and I think you were the one that told me, was Dixie and Diddy originally going to play like Ice Climbers? Was that kind of the idea with those two?
I think in that article we have linked in the show notes, I think I'd read that was the original plan for Dixie, was to be partnered with Diddy Kong.
Okay.
But then Diddy Kong, I think, became more powerful than they were imagining.
Right. So this article is from Nintendokusou, and I'm not sure if I said that right, .com. I do have a link to the article in the notes, so you can check it out. And basically, he just goes one by one through the Nintendo universe and just goes over potential characters to join the roster. This is not a short article. This is like, I'm guessing
we're still not through it, and we've been prepping for this for a while now.
Yeah, it's not a short article. Probably 3,000 to 4,000 words. I'm guessing. Like it's a novel, but it's really well written and has good arguments for why some of these characters should be there. And some of the characters on the list I thought were very interesting. Simon Belmont being one of them from Castlevania. What'd you think when you saw that character?
Well, I mean, I think any properties that can bring back nostalgia for games that you've played on Nintendo, and now it seems like even games that you maybe didn't think were Nintendo with Crash and I mean, even Sonic made it onto Smash. I mean, so that's not the first thing you think of. You think Genesis when you think Sonic. You don't think Nintendo. So, but anything that can bring back nostalgia, playing Castlevania on the NES or I mean, just any of those characters just they deserve a spot, I feel like, on the roster. And I feel like the Smash roster might be, I think you had talked about earlier in one of your earlier episodes, it has the potential to be in the hundreds. I mean, I think we could definitely see a triple digit roster eventually.
Oh yeah, there's so many characters they could choose from, and depending on how many clones they do and that kind of stuff. But I mean, a character like Simon Belmont, I wonder if it would be cool to see him either like only do like the 16-bit and 8-bit models that were from. Yeah.
Well, and there's so many weapons too with the whip, and then just all the different weapons that you acquire through playing Castlevania. I think you can have just such an interesting moveset there. Yeah,
for sure. The next one's Rayman from Rayman Legends, and I don't think I've ever really played one of these games. So all I know is that like from the pictures I see of this guy, none of his
body and hands.
Yeah, he's just like a head and some hands, and like nothing seems to be connected. So I have no clue what his moveset would look like. But this, I mean, we see this character quite often in Nintendo stuff, you know. So is that one that you'd be interested in seeing, or how do you feel about that?
I mean, I feel like if they can make the moveset, I like you, I haven't Rayman, but if they can make the movesets interesting, they made Pac-Man interesting. So and Game & Watch has plenty of stuff that pops out and he's able to use, so you never know.
Just throwing fish and everything else out of his frying pan
and squirting you with poison or right. whatever that is in the gas pump, whatever he's got. Yeah,
exactly. So the other characters that we saw, one of them was Ryu Hayabusa from the Ninja Gaiden series. Now, obviously, I mean, this goes all the way back to the NES days, right? And then what's interesting is in the article, he references Ninja Gaiden 3, Razor's Edge, that was on the Wii U. Kind of a garbage game, unfortunately. That series has gone downhill, but it really is a bummer because it was so great for the first and second one. But I'd love to see this guy in Smash.
Yeah, and again, a lot of weapons as well to just the different options you have when you're actually playing Ninja Gaiden. I mean, there's so many different. You have the shurikens, you have your sword, you have nunchucks. I think, don't you get to use nunchucks
in the games, like the just the Ninja Gaiden games? Yes.
Yeah.
But then he's also in Dead or Alive, so he's already a fighting character, and so he's got different moves where he's jumping in the air, spinning, and then slamming people down. Like, so they could steal a lot from his moveset, kind of like they did with Ryu from Street Fighter.
So is that Team Ninja that owns that outright? It's
I believe it's is it Koei Temco or how, I don't remember how to say the name exactly, but it's the teams that I believe do the Warrior series, like Hyrule Warriors. Koei Temco. I think that's who owns the rights. I'm not sure what happened with Team Ninja, if they're still a thing or anything after they lost the main guy back after Ninja Gaiden 2. So I can't remember his name. He was like the Rockstar developer, though. He always had leather jacket and sunglasses and stuff. So.
Well, I mean, and I think you and I have talked about this before, but I think anyone that owns any franchise out there is I mean, look at Phil Spencer saying that Banjo could be on the table for Nintendo. I mean, everyone wants to bring their franchise to the Switch right now. If they can get that character in Nintendo's big flagship game this year, then that's just good marketing for them as well.
Yeah, for sure. So here's a character that I would absolutely love to see, and it's Shovel Knight. I feel like Shovel Knight has just, which, by the way, I think those guys surpassed 2 million.
I saw those numbers. Yeah, they have, and it's just been in a lot of part thanks to the Switch and the DS, I think.
Crazy. So, I mean, I already have a Shovel Knight amiibo. There's more Shovel Knight amiibo coming out. There's multiple knights that they could pull from. Like, I really feel with Nintendo saying they want to offer games as a service that they could support Smash for multiple years with new stages and characters. And if the price is right, like, I feel like they really could knock it out of the park with the roster and the stages.
Hopefully DLC isn't as expensive as it was on the Wii U.
Yeah, it was a little rough.
It was a little pricey.
Yeah. So the last one that I have on the list that I took from the article, again, the article is massive. So if you want to check it out, there will be a link in the show notes. Chibi Robo. And the picture they grabbed is him swinging like an extension cord above his head. And I really don't know a whole lot about this character. I have his amiibo in my collection. Other than that, I don't really know. I know the world he like lives in or whatever kind of looks like, it reminds me of like something you'd see in like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, you know, where it's just like you're seeing the world at a much smaller perspective. And so,
yeah, I don't know a ton about this game. So yeah. But I have looked at the pictures of him enough just to see that his main source of his weapon is his extension cable.
Yeah. So who knows? I mean, the potential is there. So the article also touches on the fact that it's fairly likely that this game initially was going to be a Wii U port and then basically switched over to becoming a brand new Switch title. So,
and their reasoning behind it seems pretty like justified as well. They kind of go through timetables of DLC coming out and Sakurai taking time off and the announcements and kind of just piecing everything together to make a pretty strong argument that it could be a whole lot more. And I think going back to what a lot of people have talked about, and it most likely is, I think, going to be a lot of Wii U assets, but an entirely new game.
Yeah, I don't think we would see. I don't even think from that video where it shows Inklings, it shows Breath of the Wild Link, right? It just showed Mario. We don't know if he had Cappy on or not. I don't think we could see the eyes and the silhouette or anything like that. But I think just from that alone shows that to me, that's kind of the proof that this is not just a port from the Wii U. But we know that a Wii U game can and will run really well. So having those assets available to them to, I mean, look what they've done with Splatoon. Splatoon really breaks down. I mean, if you break it down, it's a 1.5, but yeah, they've added enough stuff to it. They've continued to support it. And that game now feels like a full-fledged sequel. And so I think, man, I'm excited. I'm really excited.
I'm really hoping that it's going to be September, and I'm thinking it's going to be, has to be something alongside the online service. It's going to be how they sell that as well. Hopefully it'll be sooner rather than later. And I'm thinking as well, coming up here, we're 10 days out from or less to May. And I think we're definitely going to hear something in May about this tournament coming up at E3. So
yeah, we should at least start to see hopefully see a roster of who's invited, that kind of stuff. Maybe get a little news about the game. I don't know. They may be playing it just close to the chest right now. We don't know, but it'd be nice to get a little bit of news. Just throw us a little bit of a bone. Give us something to talk about. So one of the things we did this last week that has honestly been huge in helping me improve my game is we watched a weekly tournament, and this tournament came from Source Gaming Productions. I believe they had the 11th best player in the world,
and that was the Luigi player, right?
Yes, yeah, and his name escapes me off the top of my head, but watching him play Luigi, I was just like, okay, I can definitely see areas I can improve in, right? and just watching those guys just try to set up their moves and that mind game that you can see that's happening lightning fast. One, it got me excited to just want to play the game more, to jump in and just start playing. But two, as I've been playing, and we'll get into this more in the weekly practice segment, but it really kind of just helped me feel like I was able to slow down, and
it helped that the game actually slowed down a little bit too.
Right, that also helped. Yeah, that definitely did. That did. But
actually, that hindered us a bit, but.
For sure. So, but it just watching the high level play. I've been trying to tune into more streams and things like that just to see these high level players and what they do and how I can learn from it. And it's been very helpful.
I remember you shot me a clip on Discord of the Zero Suit Samus player that went completely under the stage, right, using her moveset to get all the way there, and then used the grapple as well. It was I think we should probably include that clip somewhere. I think we can probably go back and find that clip.
Yeah.
But that was absolutely bonkers to see that happen.
Yeah, it was. It was crazy. It was really cool. And I do have a link to the entire tournament. It's a 10-hour tournament. But if you want to catch the last hour and a half, you'll see the finals there, and it's really good stuff. It's pretty awesome. So I recommend checking that out. We'll try to include that link as well. So, speaking of Zero Suit Samus, that is our character spotlight this week, and Nightcrawler here has been playing her as well as Bayonetta, but we're gonna just go through the list here on some of her pros and cons and that kind of stuff. I just have a bunch of bullet points. You'll be able to check all of these out again in the show notes if you want to get a little more familiar with them. The other thing is, there is at the bottom of the show notes, there'll be 2 videos embedded. The what I thought were the 2 best videos for playing as Zero Suit Samus. So if you want to step up your game, they'll be right there. You can check them out. But basically, without her bulky armor, Zero Suit Samus is faster, lighter, and more mobile, and that's definitely the case. From the matches we've had, you're kind of bouncing all over the place and able to get to where you need to get to pretty quick. I mean, is that do you definitely notice that?
Yeah, especially her. I feel like her dash attack is a good way to close the gap on whatever character you're trying to get there. So it's kind of almost Captain Falcon-esque, where she throws kind of a knee and dashes forward quite a bit.
she has decent recovery, and her plasma whip has the ability to grab the edge. Like we saw, like watching her go from one side of the stage all the way under to the other side. I had never seen it before and was like, I was freaking out. I was like, I had to clip it immediately. It was unreal. It was unreal. And even when I posted it in our Discord, a lot of people were like, what? I didn't even think that was possible. So pretty impressive. So with little in the range department, you have to get in close and you have to rely on your speed to get back out. And you find that to be the case too. Kind of our matches, we're both trying to get in close. If you can hit me with the whip, which we'll get into a little later, it gives you a little bit of a range advantage. But other than that, a lot of the attacks are like, you got to be pretty up close. Yeah,
I feel like I have a little bit of, obviously Mario, I feel like that's his biggest handicap is his range, and it's very short. And so I feel like there were points where you were whiffing when you were trying to hit me, and I was able to catch it just on the very outskirts of my range when I was using her. But yeah, a lot of times I feel like she sets things up either with that paralyzer to just completely immobilize you for a second and then can come in for that kill. But even the paralyzer doesn't even, I feel like it has a shorter range than Mario's fireballs as well. So
right. Kind of little give and take there. Yep. So yeah, like you mentioned, the paralyzer weapon has the ability to stun. Her down smash is an essential part of her moves. And what is that down smash?
The down smash is, I'm trying to think here. Do we have the? Because she has a meteor smash that's off of her down special, which is that dodge attack that you can see in the video here that's playing sometimes. But her down smash is escaping me right now.
No, it's all good, man. It's all good. If somebody's playing her, they definitely know what it is. I haven't touched her other than just like from playing her as random, so I just don't remember. So you're going to want to utilize her Paralyzer special. Charging it up extends the range but shoots slower projectiles. Opponents hit by slower projectiles will be stunned for a longer period of time. So just talk to me a little bit about the risk and reward with that thing.
Well, so I think the biggest risk and reward with her is her grab. I mean, it has a range. But it definitely leaves you open to either be counter grabbed or just attacked, because it takes quite a while for it it's almost like your whip attack, but it doesn't attack. It's grabbing you and pulling you in. So the same action animation that it comes with doing your whip is your grab. So I feel like that's your biggest just risk reward with that. But otherwise, I mean, a lot of it is risking to get in there, and you and I were talking about beforehand as well. Just, I feel like a lot of she does have a few movesets that are those really strong kill smashes, but for the most part, I feel like she is. There were plenty of matches you and I were playing that I had you at 160, 170%, and I was still failing to get you all the way off the map. So, getting those kills. She is a strong aerial attack character, but I'm still working on mastering all that, and that's one of the reasons why I've kind of taken her as my second. Is Bayo is such a strong aerial character as well that I'm working on just mastering all those aerial catches and continuation hits, and her up B is definitely one of her strong attacks.
Gotcha. So, hitting with the end of her plasma whip has the most knockback. It uses a keep out tool to control the pace of the match and slow your opponent's approaches. Also use it for recovery. Set up traps with your stun options while keeping opponents away with the plasma whip and your grapple. So here we go. After a successful grapple, down throw into forward or up air to deal some nice damage at low percentage, and at higher percentage, it can KO. So that's good to know. That's definitely good to know. Her up tilt has some invincibility at the tips of her feet, and this can help with airborne opponents. So, because I know a lot of times you'll throw that whip up at me if I'm coming down, and like I kick myself every time I fall into that thing because I'm like, I know better.
And also another thing I'm working on trying to understand that whip as well is it does have the ability to pick characters up off of the ground as well. So just trying to understand that range and where that catch hitbox is to be able to pick a character up that might be on the ground is also important.
Let's see. Her down tilt pops opponents into the air diagonally. Follow that with a dash attack. Back air is your best bet for airborne knockouts, though her up air is also effective. Down air, we've seen this happen. Down air on airborne opponents can meteor smash as well, but you better have an extra stock because it will cost you, right? Like you can spike somebody, but you're gonna go with them.
That down air is strong, and it's I feel like it's more consistent than the down smash to do that dodge attack that can lead to a back air meteor smash, but it's definitely harder to land that a little bit, I feel like. But yeah, the down air, you need to make sure you are either back over the platform or have a way to get there.
We've had a few matches where you've hit it accidentally and just meteored off the side, and I'm like, see ya. So, okay. And then from the ground, your best bets for KOs are side smash, up smash, and flip jump into kick. When guarding the edge, use Paralyzer, Plasma Whip, and Flip Jump. So there you go. There's kind of your character breakdown of Samus. Just a few tips. I think the main ones to remember are just that successful grapple, down throw into forward or up air to deal some nice damage that could possibly KO if their percentage is high enough. So, and we do have two videos, one from J-Tails and one from Even Matchup Gaming. And those will be embedded in the show notes, so you can watch them right there. Just head on over to n64josh.com/SBC7. So I talked briefly last week about setting up the controller, and you and I talked a little bit about this, and I never really came to any final conclusions myself. I'm still kind of up in the air on this thing. I can see, again, I can see my weaknesses with the controller. One of the things when I'm playing with the GameCube controller and I'm doing shield, I'm still trying to get down, not squeezing that analog trigger all the way to where it clicks, because you don't need to, right?
Yep.
You don't have to do that. And so that's one of the things I've been working on a lot as far as the controller goes. I haven't pulled the trigger, for lack of a better term, on switching over to jumping with triggers or anything like that. And I didn't hear from many people about this, but did you make any major changes, or are you still kind of in the same boat?
So I hadn't really thought about it much until you and I were talking about it. And I had changed to be similar to the DS, with grab and shield, kind of being shield being on my right hand side on the shoulder button, and grab being on my left hand side. And that was different from the default setup on the GameCube controller. And I after you talked about putting grab on the face buttons, I realized that I don't think it's Y, because I think Y is above A. So I think I put it on X as being my grab. And I still find myself sometimes hitting the left bumper, so I might revert and change that back to both left bumper and X being grab. Mainly because I just use Y as my jump. I turn off flick jump. I don't use flick jump. So those are my two changes, I guess, to the controller right now as it stands is tilt jump off or flick jump off and grab as, I guess it still is ZR and then also X.
Okay. Yeah, if you guys really want to, like, the rabbit hole is deep, get on Smashboards, just type in controller setups, and my word, it is like, it is pretty crazy how people like it, because I think it can even boil down to the character that you play as. If your character is a certain, maybe they have X amount of frames when they do this movement versus this movement, and you can maybe avoid those, like save a couple frames by having it set to tap jump versus just a button. Some people prefer it that way because they gain a few frames. I'm not there yet as far as, I'm just not. I'm not there yet. So I'm not as concerned about it as I was. But I still would like to just continue on this subject. So if you're watching this video on YouTube, let me know in the comments, how do you have your controller set up? Why do you like it that way? If you're listening to this and you want to just get into our Discord, let me know in the Smash server that you were listening to the podcast and here's how you have your controller set up. And if you're just on the show notes, there's a place for comments there as well. You can also leave a message on the post that goes on Facebook, hit me up on Twitter, whatever. There's a million places to hit me up. I'm just curious on how you guys like your controller, and we will read the responses on next week's episode. So for Smash practice, we talked about this, but watching tournaments, watching high level play, watching streamers, there's a lot of pro streamers that stream. Okay. One of the things that I really feel like I'm doing is being more intentional with my moves and less button mashing is taking place. You've been playing me. Does it seem like there's a little more intention behind the moves versus just I felt like when we first started, I was jumping and dashing all over the place and landing very, not connecting very often.
Yeah, I feel still like I'm still jumping and dashing a little bit, but I feel like I also am doing it to set something up. So I feel like there are ways to expand upon that. But yeah, I feel like both you and I have gotten to the point where we are trying to start playing games with each other a little bit. And you and I, we practice enough that I think we know each other's tendencies. So if we get on stream and we're fighting with somebody else, then it's usually a little bit different, and people, I can read what you're planning on doing a whole lot more than other people. But yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit about how last week you had wanted to start using flood a little bit more, and I called you out a little bit on Wednesday, having not been following through with that a little bit. So,
and then how many times did I die when I started using flood more?
I was able to sneak a few wins in there when you would start charging flood when you were falling back down to the platform and didn't realize that you lost your jump that way.
Right. Yeah. So that worked out great for me. But I mean, there were a few times that I was able to push you back.
And then that can lead to your fireballs or a whole bunch of other stuff. And those fireballs still, I feel like I've gotten a little bit better at predicting them, but they still sometimes catch me and totally kill my momentum on getting back onto the map. So
right. And what's kind of nice with that flood is it's almost like a reset button to like if they're pushing in a little close and you're like, well, this isn't how I wanted my next play to go. Pushing them back and then getting yourself in position, or getting myself in a position to be able to, okay, maybe I'm going to, go in for the grab now or something like that. Like it really helps just kind of reset things. So it is something I still want to get in more, but I'm just not, it's just not there yet. It will. It'll get
Yeah,
there.
it's kind of like a safety net for you. If you keep it charged up, you can have it just ready to push me back if something's not going how you wanted it to go.
Exactly. And I still feel like one of my biggest weaknesses is just being a little bit too predictable. And it's like I think I said last week too. Like I feel like I'm wanting to get the muscle memory for certain moves, so I end up doing them like too many times, even like where it's like if we're playing a match to try to win, I almost need to switch the mentality a little bit versus
cool. So, sometimes even when we're playing to win, we discover something new that we didn't realize, and we'll pause and start messing around with something. Or especially when I was messing around with just random characters last week, we were like, we didn't know what this could do, and then we're playing around with numbers and seeing and having. It's almost like a better training tool option if we can see what those numbers are coming out like and practice landing that move on somebody that can maybe even try to dodge or fight back a little bit, if more so than the computer can.
Yeah, there's been times that I'm like, hey, I saw Samus do this. Try to do this. Like, let's set this combo up for you, and vice versa. And so I would say the other thing is find somebody to play with that you're cool with them critiquing you, like they can see your weaknesses, your strengths, that kind of stuff. And, plus it just makes for like, I don't usually just play games unless I'm streaming. And so like when I message you late at night, like, okay, I got a half hour that then's turned into an hour and a half. Yeah. But like, it's fun. It's like a little bit of, I feel like I can unwind a little bit and it's relaxing, but I really like stepping up the Smash game and seeing it improve. So if you don't have somebody to play with, jump into our Discord. We've had somebody posting from across the pond at like 1 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. They go by the name of P2, I believe. And
I think they want to get on DS, right?
And they're playing on DS. So jump into the Discord if you're only playing on DS and you're, able to play around that time. Like, I guarantee I told this person, I said, hey, keep asking. Somebody's going to be there. There's a handful of us that are getting pretty excited about this game, getting the bugs. Some people bought 3DSs just to be able to play this game and stuff. And so it's not as convenient as playing on the Wii U and being able to jump into the streams that I've done and that kind of stuff. But overall, there's all kinds of different levels, and I'll play with some guys like Nintendokusou. The guy will ruin me time and time again. I think I might have beat him once, and I think it was with a character that he didn't typically main, and I may not even have beat him once. I can't remember. So, but he's a guy who's been playing forever. Him and his brother played forever. Like, it's obvious he's got the practice in, and so I've been able to learn a lot from him. And like I said, we've had all different levels of people playing, but find that sparring partner. Find somebody that you can message and be like, hey, let's get some matches in. That's been super helpful.
Who's our resident Wii U fit trainer or Wii Fit trainer name?
Silver.
Yeah,
I can't remember his full Twitch name, but he goes by Silver. And yeah, just Wii Fit trainer, just wrecking with Wii Fit trainer. And so it's
and he's set up tournaments, I think, in college. He's got plenty of just competitive background there a little bit. So
Shell Shock was lurking. Silverstone, there it is. Silverstone 14. That's his Twitch. So, cool guy. And what's up, Shell Shock? Thanks for hanging out, bud.
You got to do it now.
Yeah. Oh, Shell Shocked. Shell Shock's got some matches with us too. He's a duck hunt main, and don't mess with that guy either. So it's a ton of fun. Find somebody to spar with. It's super important. And again, if you have tips for us, please write us. You can shoot me an email, info@n64josh.com. Hit me up on Twitter. My DMs are open. The whole point of this show is to be able to for us to improve as Smash players and to help you guys improve as well. And so I want to be able to give you guys the best information out there. So if you have things that they're like, hey, this is the way I practiced for, I trained like Rocky, like let me know. I want to know what that is. Did you have Eye of the Tiger playing in the background? Like whatever it is that gets you hyped and gets you, but a good practice routine is important. Like that might be something that we try to put together. Like, what does a good practice routine look like? Is it sitting down for a half hour with a bot that's not moving, just so you can practice your moves and get better at that? I know one of the things that I see a lot of really high level Mario players doing is they're able to, it looks like from a standing position, do their back air almost immediately, as if they were moving foot, like as if it was a forward air is what it really looked. And so that's something that I've been trying to do with like being able to turn Mario around quickly and then just ever so lightly tap that jump and then be able to come in with a back air. It's super tough. That is not.
And I think that's one of the things is just learning that the different pressure on the button press, especially like, I think you and I were talking about like for Ryu, I think he has a whole bunch of different sets just based on how hard you press the A attack.
Right. So, three different. He has
learning how hard to press.
Yeah. Light, medium, and heavy is what they call it in Street Fighter. And that's how he plays on Switch as well. So, okay. Well, I got one last thing. I do want to start talking more about like the local tournament scene, but I got a friend of mine from the stream known as Half Thumbed Gamer wrote me on Facebook here, and it says, of course, I have a tournament tip. I was in a tournament that Nintendo put on back when Smash Bros. Brawl came out. My tip is to get all the details you can. Get all the details so you can be prepared. I made sure to contact them and find out which controllers they were using, since Brawl had a few options, and also found out if every character would be available. What I found out was that the Wiimote Sideways was the only choice. Ooh. And only starting characters would be available. So I practiced knowing this, and in the tournament made it to the semifinals. Others there said they were thrown off because they couldn't play their main. They normally play and they normally play with a GameCube controller. So there you go. If you're getting into the local scene, find out if they have any kind of weird rules, anything like that. I'm sure most of the time now it's gonna be a GameCube controller, Pro controller, or that kind of stuff.
Pro controller, yeah.
But you never know if they're like, no, everyone has to play with Wii Remote Sideways. Like, yikes, you better get used to that quick.
Hey, nobody wants that.
No, I don't believe they do. So that was that. I am going to be talking with some other people soon. We are going to try to get more guests on here. If you are a Smash player that has played local tournaments and you have a decent microphone, hit me up on Twitter at N64Josh. Like, let's see if we can get more people interviewed and just talking about the game and giving some tips. That's what this is about. It's about community. So I think that's going to do it for this episode. Crawler, where can everybody find you?
You can find me in Josh's Discord. I have a Twitter. I don't use it to its full potential, but just Nightcrawler724, Nightcrawler without the E. And yeah, you can find me there.
Awesome. And like he mentioned, Discord, n64josh.com/Discord. Jump in there. Get some matches with us. If you play more than Smash, you play Mario Kart, Splatoon, that kind of stuff, Rocket League. We got a lot of people playing games, so it's a good time. It's a good time. The music you're hearing right now is the Metal Melee theme. You can check out the full video at n64josh.com/Metal Melee. That is a direct link right to the YouTube video, so go check it out. If you want to get yourself a free book from Audible, go to audibletrial.com/SBC. Also, the gaming chair that I'm sitting in is from OP Seat. Go to opseat.com. Check out their chairs. Use coupon code N64Josh to save $10. I've mentioned it a few times, but the show notes for this episode, n64josh.com/SBC7. And if you guys want to follow me on social media, my Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Patreon, Snapchat, and Vero, it's all N64Josh. That's where you will find all of my content. I do have another podcast called the Nintendo Powercast. You can check that out on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, and this show also available iTunes, hopefully Spotify soon, Stitcher, Podbean, and Google Play. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us live. Shell Shock, Nevermore, Life Size Luna, anybody that's lurking, you guys are awesome. I appreciate it. And I think that's it, bud. Thanks for joining me.
No problem.
And we'll see you guys in the next episode. See you later.
Take it easy.